As we continue our time during Advent together, we come on this topic of hope. And I don't know about you, but at times hope can be kind of a heavy subject for us. I think as we look at the last few years, the culture around us, the political atmosphere, the world atmosphere, all of that around us has been really filled with tension, filled with hopelessness. And yet, here we are in December coming and talking about hope and joy and love and peace, which in our current climate, it's really hard to find any one of those. I wake up every morning, go downstairs, feed the cats, and then I either go to the gym or I kind of sit on the couch and I sit there and scroll through Facebook and Instagram and all that. And this morning, I found it really encouraging. There's a former boxer and MMA fighter that's born here in Omaha. His name's Houston Alexander. He lives in North Omaha, came out of North Omaha. Still really influential in DJing and so much other. And one of his big things is to bring hope. And as I was reading his Facebook post this morning, I'm like, how relevant is this to the topic of hope? And this is what he wrote. It's normal for some days to feel hard to smile as life challenges and stress and sadness and anxiety can make it difficult. Psychological factors like depression or even physical issues like certain injuries or conditions can contribute to this difficulty. And then he gives some stuff to say that we can cope with it, but none of it has a Christian undertone. It's stuff that we should be doing as Christians, walking around, smiling, doing acts of kindness, but it doesn't really give us purpose in how we can cope with these things. He goes on to talk about some reasons why it might be hard to smile, and it's a lack of purpose, physical issues, being overwhelmed, negative self-talk, social isolation. He kind of goes through a lot of these things, and I can't help but go back to Scripture. For so long and for so many pages of the Bible, from Genesis to Malachi, we have God interacting with his people, sending messengers to his people, relaying messages to prophets to proclaim. We see God really actively engaged in creation and with people. And then we get to the very last page of the Old Testament. We get to Malachi chapter 4, and it ends there. And then we have like 400 years of silence. That doesn't mean that God isn't still caring about his creation. It doesn't mean that God has forgot about us, but there's no speaking to prophets. There's no messages being relayed. And then as soon as we flip from Malachi chapter 4 into the New Testament, we hear the birth narrative. We hear about John's birth. We hear about Mary and Joseph and the angel coming to them. We hear the angels talking to the shepherds, and the shepherds just filling with joy and with hope. They got to experience that hope firsthand, those promises that are contained within the Old Testament. They got to hear those. Isaiah chapter 9 verse 2, it says, "The people walking in darkness have seen a great light." One of the prophets wrote, "Though it will linger, wait for it. It will certainly come and not delay." We can have hope during Advent because God keeps his promises to us. Keeps us promise that he's going to come, and he did that first Christmas. He promises that he's going to come again, and that's part of the hope that we have, that because Jesus has already came, I mean God entered our world and that he will come again. Yesterday, I was helping the Altar Guild ladies put up the Christmas tree in the sanctuary at our East Campus. And there was debate whether we should put the crown on the tree or not. And so, kind of without anyone asking, I'm going to ask for apologies if any of the Altar Guild ladies are listening to this. But through that, I snuck and I put the crown on the side of the tree to make sure it rested on some branches, that every person that walked by that tree, no matter if it was a toddler to an aging adult, that they would see the crown, because Jesus is king and Jesus will return as the king. Advent is a reminder for us that justice will come, that evil will end, that death will lose, and that Christ will reign, and that we can have hope and confidence that God is not finished yet. And so when I go back to that Facebook post of Houston Alexander and talking about why it's hard to smile and all the reasons, I'm sitting there, I'm like, well, one of the reasons we can smile is because Christ came that Christmas morning, and that Christ will come again. Yeah, if we look at the climate around our world, it certainly is tough. We have more divisiveness, we have more isolation, we feel at times that God is not doing anything, and we begin to lose hope. But we have to be reminded constantly, daily, that Christ is not finished, that he will come again, that God is not done with us, that God is still using us, that his Spirit is with us. And in that time of waiting, we need hope. Because Advent mirrors the Christian life for us. That we're already forgiven, that we're not yet fully restored, that we're already loved, and that we're not fully home yet. So this Advent season, as we look for hope and what that truly means for us, let us go back to the words that are contained within Scripture. Let us spend time reading in the Old Testament what God told these prophets and what those prophets proclaimed. Let's look at the New Testament birth stories of Jesus and look at the hope that came that first Christmas morning when people had been waiting 400 years to hear God speak. And now he came and he broke through as a crying baby in a manger in a stable in Bethlehem. Let us go out and share that good news with people who need hope. Because if we're real honest with ourselves, if we're okay and we're already hope-filled believers, we know that we have people that we see in our complexes, in our neighborhoods, in our coffee shops, in our workplaces, in our schools, wherever you have influence in society, we know that there are people that don't have hope. That's why we're excited always this time of year to be overwhelmed with hope, joy, peace, and love. That we as Christians can go out and we can share that, and it's so easy for us to do that. First, one of the things you can do is you can invite somebody to one of our Advent services or to our Christmas Eve services to hear about this hope that came in the form of a baby. And you can walk with them. Don't just leave them on Christmas Eve with that birth narrative, but walk with them. Spend time praying with them. Spend time reading scripture with them. Walk through the entire narrative. One of a favorite tradition of mine is to read every day a chapter of Luke during December. Because you hear about the birth, you hear about the life, you hear about the death and resurrection. Walk with them not just during Advent, but all the way to Lent and Easter, to the resurrection. Tell them about how Jesus brought hope into your life. We just got done getting all the angel trees picked up at both churches. And people are now going out and buying gifts for kids who have probably no hope at Christmas because one or both of their parents is incarcerated. And yet, here in a couple weeks, somebody's going to drop off a gift on their front door with a note from their mom or dad saying how proud they are of them or how much they love them or they can't wait to be with them soon. And those people dropping off their gifts, those people buying the gifts, those people praying over the gifts, the kid doesn't know it's them that bought the gifts. But that's one easy way for us as Christians to help bring hope into somebody's life. A little kid who enjoys the magic and the awe of what this season brings. You can go around and listen to Christmas music with people. Tell them the stories behind the songs. You can ask one of us, or you can easily Google what some of these thoughts are on like these good old Christmas and Advent hymns and how they're straight from Scripture. There are so many ways, so I encourage you, if you're already a hope-filled person, go out and share that hope with someone else. If you're looking for a little bit of hope this year, go to the words of Scripture. Go to a minister. Go to a Stephen minister. Go to a pastor. And let's sit down and we can look at all the ways and all the blessings that are in your life, and that what Jesus has done, what Jesus is doing, and what Jesus will do, and how it all started with him coming as a baby into this world. I hope in the waiting you find hope, joy, peace, and love this Advent season.